They're always having conversations when they're drunk.
Can you look at the camera?
We're back with the Dr. Z show.
We're Snack with the Dr. Z show.
Crack-a-lack with the Dr. Z show?
As you can see, Brenna has joined us, and Abby is sort of joined us, like she always sort of does.
She floats in the background.
So, I apologize for lying to everyone and saying that we were going to have wedding bits, because we didn't have any wedding bits, because
We
holy
did
shit.
nothing.
Yeah, no, we didn't even get married. Like,
Nope, nothing happened.
everything was rescheduled for another time. No, my wife and I did get married again.
You had a wedding.
You did.
We
We
had
had
our
a wedding.
Married
We had our
previous.
wedding. Both Brenna and
had a wedding.
Jacob were there. Jacob was my best man. Brenna was a groom's
Woman.
man.
Groom's bride?
Groom's
Groom's
maiden.
maid. Groom's maid.
Groom's maiden.
Yeah, that thing. So she
Like
got to double
groom's-
dip in presents between Claire and I.
Not that I
But-
asked you to do that.
Well, you don't ask. That's part of the tact. Anyway,
Right.
regardless, we did not do any bits or anything. There were times when I was like, we could do a bit right now. And then I was like, I'm fucking tired.
It was packed. It was a packed weekend.
Jam-packed. Yeah. I mean, I will say,
I mean, we could have eaten less peanut butter and jelly sandwiches,
Well,
but
and- I
you
was
never
gonna
want to
say-
mess with the ratio of the peanut butter and the jam.
I
So
mean,
you're
running
just-
an hour behind on Thursday was also not ideal.
Okay, well, that's because you all went to Gaithersburg. Anyway, not the point. Not the point. She's already probably gonna murder me for talking about it too much.
I appreciated
But-
your sandwich joke.
What?
The sandwich joke was it was valid. Yeah,
Appreciated it.
Brenna
fine.
articulate
I did. Yeah.
for my hopes and dreams of
Yeah.
having a sandwich joke. Anyway, so we didn't do that, but we're back. Hello.
And we can talk about it because we're like,
Because I had some sleep finally.
yeah.
So I gotta ask you guys. Best parts of the weekend, the whole weekend. We'll start with Jacob because he was the best man. Sorry, brother.
Best part of the whole weekend.
You say lasagna stab you.
If I say what? Lasagna? I mean, it was the best version of your, like, out of all of the
Lasagna was really good.
lasagnas that I've had.
The
that was
chicken.
best.
You're talking about the chicken
No,
lasagna,
not the chicken one, just like the
regular one.
red, the regular one. That was the best incarnation of it I've ever had. I know it's like the same recipe, but it was particularly good that time.
I don't know.
Uh,
The chicken Alfredo one was.
It was, yeah, the chicken Alfredo was very good, but
The chicken Alfredo one was dope. I had that, and I was like, I'm gonna go and steal another piece, just so I can have this later.
Were you paying attention when Isabel was like yelling at everyone to go eat, and your mom?
Sister.
Yeah, and when you pulled out, and when your mom pulled out both of the lasagnas, and I like turned to your mom and I said, this shit smells dope. And Isabel
Yeah,
goes,
and my mom was like,
well, then Isabel was like, that might be the highest compliment you can receive.
yeah, my mom was like, she pulled me aside later. She was like, what does that mean? I was like, I can't really explain it to you because it involves drugs. She's like, does Brenna do drugs? I was like, no, mom, no.
Dope is just a word we all use in the English language.
But it used to mean drugs. Like it used.
Hey, yeah, it
It
did.
used to mean
It's
marijuana,
still-
and then it used to mean something else, and now it means
Now it
marijuana
means-
again.
dope.
It still means cool, rad.
Abby
Yeah,
has
now
informed me that it means Coca-Cola in some parts of the South.
You have to get deep Appalachian.
that's
Oh,
Diet dope,
that's
And
West
it's
Virginia.
like- yeah, really old. West
orange
Virginia.
vanilla dope.
anyway,
Alright. West Virginia is now the deep South. It really is though. Let's be honest.
Although,
So
wait, weird
Deep
weird
to me,
thing.
I'm very northern.
Weird thing about West Virginia being the deep South, though, is that it originally became West Virginia because it was part of the North, like it was part of Virginia and then it separated and it wanted to be like part of the North during the Civil War. But now we're like, oh, them Hicks.
Because we had a bunch of carpetbaggers come down from the north and take over like the entire upper half of Virginia.
Yep.
This has been your educational bit of the Dr. Z Show. Now we
Okay,
will resume
now
our
to
regularly scheduled nonsense.
Now, this isn't nonsense so much. To answer your actual question of best part of the weekend, I actually, when we were like at the, I don't know, I cheered up a little bit when Claire walked in. I was so happy.
Oh, at the
for you.
ceremony?
Yeah, I was really happy for you both. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that part, of course. But I had to
I would hope so.
clench every muscle in my body to avoid like having a heart attack and like keeling over
I mean, you succeeded.
and
So.
sobbing. So Claire's entrance at the wedding itself. Brenna, your turn.
I mean, I've just kind of enjoyed being around like all of these people who like care about you two, and like we just got to like celebrate you two. Just the varying moments in it, like so all of us hanging out, having a good time, kind of for a single purpose. That's kind of what I like most about weddings. Is like
For a married purpose.
yeah, it's like you get to like
Okay.
celebrate your you get to like celebrate your friends
Okay.
and how like cool they are.
Even when they're dying.
Yes, unfortunately, Abby will never let us forget that she did not feel good that weekend and was sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're never gonna forget that you had no voice at their wedding.
Well, yeah, 'cause there's so many videos of me going.
That was very,
There
very
aren't,
tragic.
There are though.
There are.
There
I
are.
thought-
I did also appreciate Jacob's 8-minute long best man speech. It was
Was it
great.
really 8 minutes?
It was very long.
Get fucked.
I was sitting
8.5.
next to Jonathan. Yeah, I was 8.5. I was sitting next to Jonathan, and I just kept looking at the time because he was recording it. I just kept looking down, like, it's been that long? It's been that long? Jacob.
I over prepare.
But you also under prepare.
It's like you generally over prepare, and then when it comes to the specifics, you're like,
If I I under prepare if there's no time limit, and I over prepare if there is.
Anyway.
It happens to me in church a lot. Like I'm supposed to give a talk for like only. They're like, okay, like please, you only speak for like 8 to 10 minutes or whatever, and then it's like at the 14-minute mark, and I'm like, oh shoot. And I was like, I thought I under prepared for this.
Anyway, it was very nice.
Too much.
you had 59 anecdotes.
I did have 59
Really
anecdotes,
appreciate it.
not all spoken.
Yeah, because we would still be there.
Probably yes.
Send a collections plate around to keep like renting the country
Renting
club.
space.
I'd have to order more pizza.
I actually had the last bit of the. I actually had the last bit of the leftover pizza today.
Yeah.
Well, okay, now I have to run for. I have to get into politics and become a senator so that I can filibuster.
No, stop.
You
Stop.
would nail it, filibuster.
Okay, well, it doesn't have to be a senator. I can just be anything where I can filibuster. I will. I could like join a school board or something.
Filibuster the school
Or
board.
by you.
I don't know. I don't know what like legal or what what legal bodies exist where filibusters are allowed.
You should just
It
Google.
makes it sound like lawyers are like reanimated. Legal bodies.
Yeah.
What
What about you, Anthony? What's your favorite part?
Actually getting married to my wife. Contrary to everyone's popular belief that swing dancing was the best part of the weekend. Although it was a great part of the weekend. But actually being married to my actual wife is the best part. in the eyes of both the government and Jesus.
And the Jesus.
And Jesus. I didn't say the Jesus. Although, speaking of Jesus, it was very hilarious to see the people that don't normally go to church and their general confusion about what to do with the Jesus. Our friends from high school, in particular, held them up to one another and were like, "Do we eat it? Are we?"
Did you call communion and wafers Jesus?
Yes. Doesn't everyone call them
There's a severe lack of
No,
cheese.
but I think we will from now on.
that? Jesus. You heard it here first. Um.
What up, slut?
Weird jump cuts. So the last point I want to make about the wedding and wedding weekend was today was, well, context. Of course, everyone that I work with knew that I was off for a total of 6 days, and I made sure everyone knew why I was off, so that they would not bother me while I was off. But I got to tell the first person that had some issues with my marriage to go fuck themselves today, because because one of the people, I guess you can say that he's a person I work with. You both know who I work for, or the company that I work for, so why saying that he's sort of a coworker makes sense?
Yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, so like, how was your wedding?" And I was like, "Oh, it's good, it's good." And he's like, "How's like, having a wife?" I was like, "It's great, like
Big
10 out of
fan.
10, would recommend." And he was like, "Oh, like, isn't she like, having to do all this stuff now?" And like, I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "Well, like, you gotta like listen to her all the time." I was like, "Kevin, what are you talking about? Like, I've been with her for almost 6 years total. Like, what are you talking about?" He was like, "Well," he like started to see his argument unravel, and I was like, "I listen to her because I like respect and love her. That's why we got married."
Can
Did
you
you
get
get
closer
that?
to the camera?
Did you actually like? You're just like,
No, I did get closer to him, and I was like,
Kevin, hey.
"Is what I'm saying making sense to you?" And he was like, I'll talk to you later." I was like, "You won't. Go fuck yourself." Like, he was like, I understood where he was going and like the joke that he was trying to make, but I just wanted to watch him, like, watch it unravel.
Yeah.
Destroying people's hopes and dreams is like one of the things that I live for, because I'm a monster. And speaking of destroying
I
hopes
only
and
do
dreams
that
and being a
for
monster,
I only do that in board game.
well, yes.
I will
Speaking
also say, before we do that, I'm sorry, that beautiful, amazing segue. I'm now
It's a
playing the
great
fun
segue.
game. It's a great segue, and we can go back to it. We're putting a pin in that segue. This is me putting a pin in that segue. I'm playing the super fun game now of started coming back from that wedding, make you get interested. That's the game I'm playing now.
No one asked me that after Jacob's wedding, actually.
Everyone is asking.
Maybe it's because Claire and I were already engaged. But so now are people like on you and Lewis about her boyfriend's name is Lewis. Hi, Lewis. He probably doesn't watch the show. Whatever. Anyway, point. Are people like on you and Lewis now about like, oh, when are you getting married? Oh, like, is it gonna happen? Oh, is like you gonna propose? And they're getting closer to you when they're saying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actual factual though, like.
Actual factual.
I mean,
I also work in an office full of 50-year-old women, so.
Oh,
That's
you're
the
done.
worst.
It's over for
my
you.
mom was surprised that I was inviting Jacob to my sister's wedding back when that was happening because
Okay, literally, I thought you were gonna say that she was surprised that you invited Jacob to your wedding, and I was like, that's sort of like required.
my wedding back before we were engaged because she thought that it was like a fairly serious date type thing, especially.
I mean, I drove 13 hours to
Yes.
California, so yes.
I did not imagine
Yeah, I remember
that
you leaving for that. You were like, I gotta go to California tomorrow. And I was like, dude, fucking for what? Like, that's not a close distance.
Yeah, I was in California for
Rich.
less time than I spent traveling to it.
And for that, I'm very sorry.
That's the fucking worst, though. You weren't
Yeah,
even there
yeah.
13 hours.
Yeah, 13-hour drive. I was there I got there at 5 p.m. and then we left at like 11 a.m. the next morning.
See, I wouldn't even do that. You clearly love your wife more than I do. Maybe I love you, but I'm not driving to a place for a longer time than I will spend at the place. That is what we did when we went to New Hampshire. But see, that's the difference is we went to New Hampshire together. So we suffered together.
Well, all your trips should be to the DMV then, if that is your qualification.
Fuck you, Jacob. I hate the DMV.
Because you'll always
Except here
the DMV, and
in
you'll have travel.
Crabland, they call it what's it called? The MVA, because
Of
crab
course
people
they
have
do.
to be different.
No, because
The
Maryland
voter-
thinks that they're the
voter-
greatest state in the world when actually they're
No
just
one-
kind of terrible.
Everyone that's ever been born, and this is we're way off topic.
Weird
But
tangent.
everyone that like I used to hear people be like, "Oh, I want to find someone who like loves me as much as I love being from Maryland." And like when I lived literally anywhere else, I was like, "I don't understand what that means." And now that I live here, I'm like, I totally fucking understand
So
what that
here's
means.
the thing. Okay.
But here's the thing. No, here's the thing. I don't think my wife could love me and I could love her as much as anyone who is from Maryland loves being from Maryland. Because people love being from Maryland so fucking much. And I'm like, look, you are from Maryland.
That's
Why
like
do
Kentucky,
you
too,
love
though.
being from Maryland?
I love how much you guys hate Maryland.
Not nearly as much as people from Maryland love being from Maryland. It's ridiculous.
There's
So that's how. No,
Like-
okay. So I'm learning. This might be a weird Virginia thing where we just don't care about our state a lot.
Okay,
Because
see, I'm not from Virginia though. I'm from the state where people hated it so much they went to the fucking moon.
well, that's fair. But you spent a large portion of your life in Virginia, so you can
That's-
attest.
I've spent the
You can
most.
attest to
I
the
spent the most singular time in
the
Virginia. That's correct.
formative years in Virginia. Like we can all attest to the fact that Virginia. I like Virginia, but am I like ride or die? Virginia's for lovers, and I love Virginia.
That's
Innocent.
motto, actually.
I mean, it's fine. But then I meet people who are like from Indiana and from Kentucky and from Texas, and you're just like,
People love
Why?
being from Texas.
people love being from Texas. People
Texas sucks though. It's
people
way
from
too fucking
Indiana
hot there.
also think Indiana is the greatest state in the world, and I do not know what they put in the water there
What
to make
is from
people think
Indiana?
that.
Gary, Indiana.
Crime.
Crime. Wait,
Crime
so
is from Indiana. Crime. The first crime ever committed was committed in Indiana. Ever in the history of the world.
Virginia though, whenever I see Virginia license plates, I'm always like, yeah.
Yeah, there's always like a part of me that's like, yeah.
I'm so happy to see like
Well, they're much more rare here.
I feel
Yeah,
a
Yeah,
kinship.
I would think they're rarer in Utah.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
perfect.
it's a hop, skip, and an 8-hour drive from Virginia to Kentucky. It's
Yeah,
you
I
know.
know.
a hop,
Yeah.
skip.
Well, so
Yeah.
okay, so how much do people from Utah love being from Utah?
I think anyone
don't.
cares.
They
Yeah.
don't. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, whatever, Utah.
Same with
Sure.
like Nevada.
They
People
don't
are like,
they don't hate their state, but I don't know anyone who's been like, oh, like I love being from this part of Utah. They're just like, oh, I'm from this part of Utah. And also when people would ask me like, oh, what did you do growing up? Like, what was there to do around where you grew up? I was like, I don't know, museums and stuff, maybe. I was like, I mostly just kind of like hung out with friends and went to high school and had the internet. Like,
you don't
And happy
realize how much there is to do in like
Until you leave.
until
Thank
you
you.
leave.
How many fucking years did I say this? Jacob, how many years did I say this? when people were like, "Oh, I'm in such a fucking hurry to leave Virginia," and then they were like, "I miss Virginia so much." Like,
I don't
fuck
recall
yes.
you saying
No.
these words.
I used to say that shit all the time. Probably not to you. See, okay, here's the difference.
It couldn't
Probably
have
not to you because you weren't like, "Oh, I can't wait to leave." You were like, "It's fine being here." Usually people are like, "Oh, I can't wait to leave," and I'll see you when you get back real fucking soon. Sorry, I have a lot of like pent up rage about
Well,
this.
and like what baffles me is like people are like they're like, I love coming to the big city to do things, and I'm like, there's 300,000 people there. There's 300,000 people here, and
there's only 300,000 people
in the 65-foot square mile, like Fayette County.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't
and
realize it was that small.
yes, and then people are like, well, you're from a town of 150,000. I'm like,
No,
yes,
you don't fucking know shit.
in a 15-mile radius. Do
You know
that
how
math.
many people live in Fairfax County?
Yeah.
Like county of Fairfax? You know how many people live there? You know?
It's like 500,000 or something.
No.
Is it a million?
Good guess. Jacob, how many people live in Fairfax County?
855,000.
Claire, how many people live in Fairfax County? She says well over a million. 2 fucking million people
Jesus.
live in Fairfax County.
Yeah.
2 million.
Yeah, and
That's a lot of motherfuckers.
150,000 of them are
I'm
crammed
sure they're not all
in
that.
area in the city of Alexandria.
That's a lot of people. And people are like, "Oh, why is Virginia always blue?" Because like most of the state lives in like 3 counties.
Yes.
Washington too.
I have a lot of feelings about this.
I don't even know if Kentucky. Okay, Kentucky has 4.4 million people.
In the
4.5.
entire state. That's the whole
entire state.
The whole state.
Have I told you my favorite fun fact about Kentucky? We will come back to your beautiful segue. We will. But have I told you my favorite fun fact about Kentucky?
Favorite fun fact about Kentucky. Now, with all fun facts, I have to ask, is it actually fun?
Yes.
Is it Jacob fun or is it real fun?
It is a fascinating and hilarious statistic.
Jacob fun. Got it.
So, the top 3 cities, population-wise, are Louisville, Lexington, and Bowling Green.
Yeah.
When the University of Kentucky's football stadium is at maximum capacity,
Oh no.
it becomes the 3rd largest city in Kentucky.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. People really love football.
That's interesting and terrifying.
Because there's like 1.5 million people in Louisville. There's 300,000 people in Lexington, and then there's like 50-something thousand in Bowling Green. And then when the 64,000 person UK football stadium is at full capacity, it becomes the 3rd largest city in Kentucky.
That's
Yeah, it's my favorite.
I don't know what to do with that information.
Laugh at it? I don't know.
Go on Jeopardy.
Go on Jeopardy.
With just that piece of
Just that fact.
no other knowledge.
End the game, block all the exits,
Yeah.
and now it will stay the 3rd biggest city.
Yeah. We create an
Trap
ecosystem
everyone
of
in there.
nothing but football fans.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me double check let me fact check this. I don't want to be giving you incorrect information. Kroger Field.
Okay, see, now I want to know the ratio. I'm not gonna look this up because I'm lazy. But now I want to know the ratio between like the city of Columbus and Ohio State's football stadium. Cause like I'm sure football in Kentucky is like
Bowling Green's gotten bigger. You know what?
Okay,
Bowling
I'm
Green's
sure,
gotten bigger.
like, football in Kentucky is like real important. Everybody loves it there. But like
no,
Ohio
it's
State
basketball.
football is a fucking religion.
Basketball's a religion here.
Okay, yeah,
But-
like Ohio State football is a religion. So
Well,
that stadium is
how-
always fucking full.
It's only become full in recent years because we stopped being
But bowling is also apparently a very important sport in
Jacob.
Kentucky.
Bowling
Because-
Green. That's where the Bowling Green massacre happened. Do you guys remember the Bowling Green massacre?
No,
No.
none of us were alive.
No, it didn't happen. That's the meme. That's the joke. But people,
Because
Yeah.
none of us were alive when it happened.
You
Because
said
it
you
didn't
wouldn't tell
happen.
falsehoods, Brenna.
that's why I didn't. That's why never mind.
I feel like we were fully
Speaking-
prepared for that to believe that was the thing.
I was.
Bowling Green massacre?
You
I
know,
just-
somebody stopped watching the show right then, and they were like, "Oh."
I assumed that it was one of those like I'm from Kentucky and therefore I know this things. Like
Yeah.
how
Jacob, not Kentucky. Brenna's not even from Kentucky,
No.
so like,
well, I mean like she knows people who are from Kentucky and they probably would have shared that information
I
with her.
know. I
Be like,
know.
oh yeah, the Bowling Green
This will be
Massacre
120. So, because there are 120
Also-
counties in Kentucky.
died in
What?
Nelson Mandela died in 1996.
Berenstein Bears.
Yeah. Very important things. Let's talk about the Sonic movie.
Okay, so speaking
This is
of the
even worse.
monster, that is speaking of the monster that I don't remember what the
If you
second
just
one.
want to jump. from
yeah, I
that-
remember vaguely like what the segue was, and then it involved someone being a monster.
Yeah, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So,
It's a good movie.
Anthony, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
No, and you guys can spoil it because I'm sure what. Okay, here's what I think happens in the Sonic movie.
Yes.
Sonic. Here's what I think happens based on the trailers, because I watched the trailers. So Sonic somehow he either like connects with the Speed Force of whatever the Sonic universe is or whatever, or
No.
something happens with Dr. Robotnik,
Nope.
and he gets like transported to the real world,
No.
which is not the same Sonic.
Well,
No,
wrong.
stop saying that. I'm just assuming. I'm making wild assumptions.
And so-
Well, you
So
know what
something
they say
happens-
about assuming.
And he's in the real. Yeah, fuck you too. He's in the real world. Whatever. Not the real world and the Sonic world are separate. And then he makes friends. He makes weird like somebody finds him in their like garage or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he can talk, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then he's like never referred to as a hedgehog. He's just like this weird creature that can move real fast. Stop shaking your heads. I'm assuming
You're wrong.
this is my
You got
Why-
like a 5 on your assumptions.
this is my plot of the Sonic movie. And then he ropes his Sonic ropes his like Tails is never mentioned, and he ropes his new friend into like needing his help to defeat Dr. Robotnik because this person is the most mediocre man that has ever lived, and like the most interesting thing about him is he's friends with Sonic the Hedgehog, and then he helps defeat Dr. Robotnik. And everyone lives happily ever after until they inevitably make way too much fucking money from the Sonic the Hedgehog movie and have to make Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
So,
Yeah.
Jacob,
Which
I want
better
to start this.
Knuckles. And if Knuckles isn't introduced in this movie, I don't want to fucking see it.
I want to
Sonic-
start this.
Sonic 2, I don't want to fucking see that either. I only care about Knuckles.
Jacob,
doesn't
on a
show-
scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this movie? What do you give
Because
Sonic the
I've never
Hedgehog?
seen it.
Okay.
It's Knuckles
For, like,
in it.
Sort of. He might be.
What do you
He
mean?
might be.
He's
He
either
might
in it
be
or
at
he's
the
not.
beginning. Well, the thing is, they set it up like there's like this tribe that's hunting Sonic, and they look like
There's a
echidnas.
tribe of echidnas hunting for Sonic's power. So, okay.
Oh no, they've created the Sonic the Hedgehog cinematic movie universe.
Yes, they have.
Are you shitting me? That was a joke.
No. So if
Oh
it does
no.
they make a sequel, there's potential for it to be very good because this was a good movie.
This was,
Um,
okay.
For a kids film, I will couch it in there. I give it like an 8 out of 10 for a
For
kids
a
movie.
kids movie.
For like
An overall movie.
film, if you're looking for like overall movie, maybe like a 5.5. But it was fun and I enjoyed it, and ultimately that's what matters.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie like overall like a 6.5.
I get over like that they've set up the Sonic the Hedgehog cinematic. Like
I
Yeah,
will say
fact-
there are two things that ruined this movie for me. The fact that the movie starts with a "I bet you're wondering how I got here."
Oh my
Okay.
gosh,
Yeah.
I
That's,
like
that's,
we
that's
were
not a
all
fun.
but
Yeah.
a record scratch away from.
Yeah.
So I bet you're wondering how I got here. Like we were all but a record scratch away, and then the weird amount of product placement.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
much.
Yeah. So really, there's only three problems with this movie. One
Yes.
that you mentioned. Two, Olive Garden, specifically Olive Garden product placement.
The Olive Garden.
Okay, actual lines from the movie. You know I like going to Olive Garden because when you're there, cut to other conversation in the phone call. Your family. Actual line in the movie.
No.
Actual line.
My favorite
Okay.
is they saved the day. They saved the day. And what does the U.S. government give them? A $50 Olive Garden gift card.
Have you tried their never-ending pasta bowl?
They're amazing.
Okay.
That's a line in this movie.
Okay.
Actual lines.
Okay, because I've not seen the movie, but I've seen this other movie. Did any of you watch the Gritty Power Rangers reboot movie that they made?
No.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Is there more product placement? You're on this side of the screen for me. Is there more product placement for Olive Garden in Sonic? This is a sentence I never thought I would have to say. Is there more product placement for Olive Garden in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie than there is for Krispy Kreme in the Power Rangers Gritty reboot?
Ooh. I think so. There's There's three mentions of Olive Garden. There
Okay,
are two
no.
specific product placements.
No, there's way more in Krispy in the.
Yeah. That's what I was
Power
thinking.
Rangers.
I
Okay, no,
think
that's
there's
way more.
There's several Zillow references. There's Mellow Yellow references. We're forgetting all of the references.
Mellow Yellow. People still drink that shit?
Yes, it came back.
They still make it?
Yes. It's very popular in Kentucky. It's wildly popular in Kentucky.
This has become a Kentucky.
Do you know how many times every day I got asked at Jimmy John's, "Do you have Mellow Yellow?" And
How
I
many
had
times
to
you had to say no.
every single time because we didn't have Mellow Yellow.
What is Mellow Yellow? Is it like
Zero
weird
product
Mountain Dew?
It's like Mountain Dew and Sprite had a baby, and it tastes more lemony.
Okay, wait. So, yeah, I forgot about the other
That's
product
horrible.
placement. And then the other bad part of the movie is the 2 times that Sonic flosses.
Yeah, no, that one's
Twice.
Twice.
Okay, that's too. I'm not seeing this movie.
You know
Okay,
what bothers me about
However,
this thing? Is the flaily wrists. Like the dainty wrists he does while he's doing it. Like his arms are noodles while he's doing it.
He doesn't floss quickly.
No, it's slow
He's
flossing.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
No,
Yeah,
it's literally
Very
like
strange.
it's literally like
yeah.
this speed. I'm sorry, I'm not doing his arms flaily enough.
Yeah. Okay, wait. So, the other thing is the movie. I think the script of the movie would have been fine even with the terrible original
Yeah, but it
character.
would have been much more difficult to watch.
Yeah, it would have been more difficult to watch, but like script.
If you close your eyes.
Yeah. And then, however, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik is amazing. He is.
See, they cast him, and I was like, oh no, wait a second.
He's so good.
It's so good. You know what my favorite part of that whole movie is? Pin yourself to the wall. He tells his henchman to pin himself to the wall like this, and then proceeds to yell at him as if he were doing it himself.
Yeah, he has really good burns.
I also
Like,
really
throughout the
like
movie.
exercise and like planning
So-
sometimes when he's like researching.
Yeah.
Oh, he clearly did research on this, like, to get accurate and effective burns. Also, I thought James Marsden and his wife in the movie were incredible. I thought they were really well done. I thought the casting was great. And what's clever about it is his wife was a veterinarian. He was a cop, she's a vet. So when Sonic gets hurt,
These are the people that like he teams up with. Or
yeah,
whatever?
these are the people who he teams up with. When Sonic gets hurt, he just takes him to his wife. I will say, there was was it ever established why the sister hated James Marsden's character?
Because she's divorced, and divorced people want marriages to fail.
Okay.
That was Abby's. She.
That's a good assessment, but like I feel like it was never established. She just kept saying that boy is trouble.
Yeah, no, he never specifically did anything against her that we know.
No, I mean he did tie her up, but that was justified.
And that was also well after she wanted to break up their marriage.
Yeah, like she wanted to break up their marriage like from the get-go.
She was.
Like they're moving to be closer to her too.
And then he brings Sonic in, and like the government is like, this is a wanted felon, and she is like, oh, like I'm calling the cops, and like James Marsden and his wife and the daughter of the sister are all like, nope, you're not calling the cops, and they tie her up, and then they steal her car.
And then they steal her car, and the daughter gives Sonic her Pumas, and it's really cute.
What the heck is fucking in this movie?
Okay,
and at the end of the movie, the daughter of the sister who's tied up is just running around her house, going, "Gotta go fast,
gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go fast."
What's happening with Anthony's camera?
I don't know.
No, and then my favorite part of that too is all the sister says is, "Can you at least put on mommy's Fitbit? Can you at least get some steps in for the day for me?"
But yeah, Jim Carrey's amazing.
I'm more interested in the Tribe of Echidnas. Is that like post credits or is it like?
Yes. Okay.
It's
Well,
at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, but it's gonna come back. Okay. So here's the like too long didn't watch of this movie.
Yeah.
So Sonic is a baby on Sonic World.
Is it like a different plane of existence, or
Yes.
is it like
Yeah,
another
there's
planet?
a multiverse, and he travels
It's at
between
least
them.
a different planet.
Yeah.
It's at least a different planet. So he is being taken care of by this wise elderly owl who
And
dies immediately.
Apparently, the owl is not actually from any of the games
No,
at all, and it's just an original character.
Which is fine because of stuff like that happens in the
just
comics.
actual interesting comic facts aside, the Sonic the Hedgehog origin story is fucking wild. Holy shit, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
Are we talking
man.
about the Sonic Bible or from the comic books?
From original comics.
Okay.
Sonic the
Okay, so
Hedgehog
not
was
the
the
Sonic
comic.
Bible one. Because the Sonic Bible one is also wild.
I've not read this. What's the Sonic Bible one? I get this.
You should
We'll
just
send
watch.
you a video.
We'll just send
Does
you
it
a
have to
video.
do with the Mobians?
No.
Okay,
No,
no,
he's
then
a
the
real-
comic
he's a
version is
real hedgehog.
way.
No. This one's like Uncanny Valley. Like he's a real hedgehog from Kansas.
Oh no.
And his
The
dad
com-
dies, and
the
then
comic-
they get poisoned with like sludge.
No,
It's-
the
we
comics
just
one
have
is
to send you the.
way out there. The comics one is
Okay. So
Holy shit, it's wild.
the Longclaw, Professor Longclaw or whatever her name is raising Sonic and is like, "You have so much power, we must hide you." And then as she finishes saying that sentence, she gets shot in the like chest by an echidna arrow. And then she's like, "Sonic, take this bag of rings. These are your most valuable possession." And then she like shows him that like the rings create portals. So he jumps to the portal and is like, "Longclaw, no!" And then he lives in Green Hills, Montana for the remainder of his days. And then
Green Hills, Montana, real place.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Is it? Maybe? If Green Hills, Montana is in Montana. Like our Montana.
So is there a place in Michigan called Chemical Zone? That was real bad.
That was
That'd be
really
great.
bad.
So casino
Wait.
night has to be in Nevada. And,
Green Hills, Montana is a real place
Cool.
near
Casino
near
night.
Bozeman.
Okay, so the casino night stage takes place in Nevada. What's the other one I'm thinking of? Fuck, I can't think of it. Whatever. Anyway, not the point.
Not the point. So he grows up in Green Hills, Montana, and he like people watches, and he develops nicknames for all these people, including the big cop in town, James Marsden, who he calls Donut Lord. So when
Because he talks to
Lord.
donuts.
he talks to donuts and like gives like he makes donuts as like deputies and stuff. It's very cute. There's a whole little like montage of him like doing nothing and like talking to a donut with like
Top
paper
small
clip
town.
arms. Yeah, he's
It's like helping ducks cross the road. Like he's the sheriff.
and Wade, his second in command, is a complete dunce. So Sonic is watching a kids baseball game like in town, and he's like,
Is he like in disguise, or is he
No.
like?
he's just hiding.
No, he's just really fast, so like people don't notice him, and he's gotten
No,
used to
there's-
hiding.
There's one man who knows that he's there.
Oh,
He's
Crazy Carl.
he's an
And
old man.
Oh my
holds
god,
up
they
his
used the Sonic drawing. They used the drawing of Sonic, and that's what Crazy Carl draws.
Do they really?
Yes!
He's like, it's the
Holy
Blue
shit.
Devil.
This is the Blue Devil! I know you're out there, Blue Devil! It's great. So,
Holy
he's watching
shit. This
the-
movie is the internet.
It's
Like this movie is what happens when the internet like becomes sentient.
so he's watching this kid's baseball game, and he watches how much fun these kids are having together, and he's like, I want to have fun. So when everybody goes home, he like
Plays
plays
baseball
baseball
with
with himself, and then he gets so sad because there's no one there to high five him.
yeah.
He starts running
So
bases. Part of what?
okay, so part of his whole like being in isolation thing is like when he was a kid, he was being hunted for his power by the echidnas.
Yeah.
And Longclaw was like, you shouldn't show off your powers anywhere. You have to be in hiding because someone is always going to want to take it from you. Someone is
Yeah.
always going to hunt you and try and take this from you.
Which
And
is
so
what
he's
the
been
echidnas-
world hopping. Like he has a list of like planets that he's visited that he can't go to anymore because he like used his
Was
powers and
stopped.
people found him. And so he's been in Green Hills for the longest amount of time without being discovered. But then as he's playing this baseball game and gets sad, like it seems like his powers are tied a little bit to emotion. Like
Mhm.
he can always run fast, but like when he has like the crazy surges of
And
energy,
when he has like determination and like strong emotions, they
Um,
surge.
yeah, and so he sets off like this EMP that wipes out like all the
Oh,
electricity in the
It's like the tri-state area, pretty much.
yeah, and so that is what has the government calling Dr. Robot. We
Okay, so
think
Dr.
and-
Robotnik he's just
he's just a normal guy
From
He's a
who's
Earth.
working with,
well,
like,
he's a normal guy. He's like a highly intelligent
six
but
PhDs.
eccentric 6 PhDs guy.
okay.
And they're like, you have to find this and utilize this technology because it's probably like bombs or like nuclear energy or something. There's something wild happening in this town. Find it. So Sonic, now panicking because Dr. Robotnik's robots are after him, goes to his favorite human in Green Hills, Donut Lord, James Marsden.
And
and he's-
originally he was just going to his house, to his shed, to like throw a ring and work to a new zone or like a new realm, planet, whatever, to escape.
Yeah.
But James Marsden surprises him and shoots him with a dark gun, with like a train
first
start.
tranquilizer done, yeah. Which his
Okay.
wife has because she's a
That-
vet,
yeah.
Okay.
and he
And
used
so they pair up because he loses his bag of rings.
because
Then legs are like gel of the tranquilizer.
we skipped how he lost the rings, which is funny and important. So James Marsden's character is thinking about going to San Francisco and transferring to the SFPD and gonna be a street cop, and he's wearing a San Francisco t-shirt because he just got his acceptance pending approval. And Sonic, as he's like unconscious from the going unconscious from the trank gun, he throws the ring, hoping to jump through the portal, but instead it lands on the floor. And he goes to San Francisco in his brain because he can go wherever he can imagine. So he jumps to San Francisco and he trips and falls, and the bag of rings falls on top of the Trans-Americans building, right? One of the massive buildings in San Francisco. So now they have to pair up to go get the bag of rings back from the top of the building. But Sonic doesn't know where San Francisco is.
Which is kind of some BS movie logic.
Because he's been like hiding.
Because he could follow road signs or a map.
Good.
Or get a phone.
Look, there are a lot of those like
What
BS
the heck is
movie
fucking
logic.
in this movie?
Right. So they team up. There's a bar fight. Dr. Robotnik has a lot of sexual tension with his henchmen. Like a lot.
Brenna's interpretation.
We didn't notice any.
Oh, my friends and I noticed it.
I mean, I don't think there's any. I don't think Dr. Robotnik had any feelings towards him. Like his henchman might have.
It was more of like a dom sub relationship. With Robotnik.
This is a kids movie, right?
Yeah, but he did ask his henchman to pin him to the wall, and his henchman immediately did it. So then, Robotnik is like on to them. And Tom, James Marsden's character, has been deemed a like important, like a person of interest and like a federal.
Actually,
Yeah. He's like all over the news.
He's all over the news
because he punched Dr. Robotnik.
But weirdly, he never has a line saying like, "Well, I guess that the background check is not going to work."
Yeah, they didn't even mention that. Like, he didn't even say like, "Oh, I guess I'm fucked." Like,
well, it's all taken care of by the government in the end. They're like,
it is. You know,
they purge Dr. Robotnik from their records and everything once he disappears.
But so they get to San Francisco. The sister keeps telling James Marsden's wife to divorce him. They steal her car. Sonic gets new shoes. And they go to the Trans-American building. They somehow feel the need to break in, despite the fact that I know Sonic could just like run up the side of the building and do it that way. But they instead broke in and got on the roof. And they get the rings back, and then Robotnik engulfs them with his robots. And Sonic's like, "Oh, I have a brilliant idea. Like, no one can move faster than I am." Oh, also at some point, Sonic dropped a quill. This is important. Sonic dropped a quill, and then Robotnik confiscated it from James Marsden's character, who found it, and then was able to utilize it to unlock Sonic's speed powers. And that's relevant.
Oh, like a hedgehog quill. I think you meant like a writing quill. I was like, what the fuck?
No, like a hedgehog quill. And that's important because Sonic is like, "I've got time. No one's as fast as I am." But Robotnik is now as fast as he is.
Robotnik, actual Dr. Robotnik's character?
Yes.
Well, no, he's in a ship, and the ship is powered by Sonic's, like, the quill that he had, and using
Still
like,
weird.
Speed Force, basically.
Yeah, it's so weird, but now it's more of a battle, and so Sonic, like, pushes James Marsden and his wife off of the building, and then creates a portal back to Green Hills, and then Sonic runs around. And then we come back to, so this is actually the moment in the beginning of the movie where he's like, "I bet you're wondering how I got here." He's like, "Let's see how the rest of this plays out." And you're just like, "Yeah, Sonic, you didn't have to remind me that you said that at the beginning of the movie." Anyway, they end up back in Green Hills, and Sonic is like, "The power of friendship" or something, and sends Robotnik back to. Oh, and he'd been talking about this like the next location, the next plane of existence he was going to go to was this terrible Mushroom Kingdom.
It was one of the last places he hadn't visited yet.
Yeah, and
You
he
said
yeah,
Mushroom Kingdom.
Yes.
I'd say the mushroom. It was it's a mushroom of planet, a planet of mushrooms.
Yes. It makes me think Mario.
Okay,
It's
you say
Mario.
Mushroom Kingdom, and I'm like,
There's going to be a live-action Mario crossover.
We made
Breaking Bad.
lots of Mushroom Kingdom. Don't worry, Mushroom Kingdom jokes. So he sends Robotnik to the Mushroom Kingdom, and they're like, "Yay, we won!" And then Robotnik's like starting to turn into an egg, and he's like, "I'm going to get back. If anyone can do it, I can. I still hold the power." Because he still has the quill. But he's like starting to get round.
oh, like Dr. Eggman. Okay.
Yeah.
So he gets the moniker Dr. Eggman from Sonic in the movie because all of his drones are kind of like egg-shaped. Like
Yeah,
they're
they're all like white and egg shaped. Yeah.
yeah. And then they have like missiles. They have compartments that, you know, break off of them with missiles and like wings and stuff for propulsion.
He's like, "Okay, Eggman."
Yeah.
Okay.
Eggman.
Apparently, the rings
Oh.
never become a MacGuffin.
Nope.
Never.
Yeah.
Robotnik is never like, hey, those rings create portals to another world. Maybe that should be my new focus, or at least
No,
a secondary focus. That never happens.
never happens.
Yeah. So just
And then
Sonic
US
Sonic wins the fight by sending, like, they open the portal to the Mushroom Kingdom. They send Robotnik through, and
the government wipes him from his
he's there
records.
for yeah. So the movie, like, one of the ending points is that Dr. Robotnik is still there, and like his, you know, mustache
Is the wild
has grown.
Eggman.
He like shaved his hair so that he looks more like the, you know, classic Dr. Eggman. The U.S. government says thanks. Dr. Robotnik never existed, and they basically kind of clear James Marsden's character's record for, you know, they're like, none of this ever happened, and they're like, are you still in contact with the creature thing? And they're like, nope, and he's just in their house, and the government's like,
They
okay.
gave him a race car bed.
Yeah,
It's really cute.
kind of all under the rug. The government's like, we.
Oh, and Tom learns, like, you don't need to go to San Francisco.
Yeah, all
Like,
of your friends are here.
Hey,
Yeah.
and now they just have this roommate who's Sonic.
Yeah. Also,
That game, My Roommate Sonic, which is unrelated.
then at the very, very, very end,
Post credits.
Tails
Yeah.
shows up.
Tails, like actual
Yeah.
Tails the fox with two tails.
Tails the
He
fox
shows
with
up,
two
and he has
tails.
like a scanner, like looking for Sonic, and he's like, he's here.
And then he like takes off with his two tails and propellers away. And that's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to what I originally said. Knuckles isn't in this movie. I don't care.
Not officially,
Not officially,
but
but
there
the
is a
Echidna
tribe of
are in
echidnas
the movie.
hunting Sonic, so that is shown that they exist in this universe.
So it's not entirely impossible for Knuckles to show up in the next movie.
Or the Chaos Emeralds.
Or the Chaos Emeralds.
Different than the green emeralds that Knuckles has to protect.
Yes, the
in his
mask.
life. I know way too much about the Sonic mythos already.
Yeah.
Okay,
They were fun.
so the movie was enjoyable.
I had a great time. Also, weirdly, despite the fact that I saw it opening weekend, it was just 4 of us in the theater.
We also had a fairly
Because next door, they started a movie like 10 minutes before our showing. That movie theater was full. Ours was completely empty. So the 4 of us just got to like shout and like hang out and like be friends and like enjoy a private screening of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, yeah, there was something about it made like $58 million
Opening weekend.
like
Yeah,
opening weekend, which was crazy for a video game movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
The budget for the movie was $95 million.
They beat it.
So
already.
hopefully
No, they've already exceeded it.
they already exceeded their
Yeah.
budget. Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's like a first because so many video game movies were made in Germany to exploit like weird legal loopholes where they could not be taxed for like the revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a
Made
weird
to fail.
there was a weird law that I need to look into it again, but there's a weird law that was made in Germany in like maybe like the early 20th century to promote like the arts, and it was basically like your fails, like the government will reimburse you for like the difference, and then that money is like not taxable or whatever. So people would make these movies intentionally bad, but like they would, put them through the whole production process so that they could actually be like, oh, I made a movie.
Guys, do you think that's how Cats happened?
No. I don't
That's
think
what's sad. That's what's sad. Is Cats was a labor of love. I'm not gonna talk about Cats.
You've already brought it up. Okay, I also want to point out we've been talking about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that time you could have seen half the movie.
Yeah.
It's only 90 minutes, so
yeah, movies that are
It's
only an
very
hour and a
good.
half.
Like, it's worth seeing. I would argue it's definitely.
also
It's a hilarious romp.
They're re-releasing the first Pokemon movie in like 3D animation, and I don't.
That's gonna be bonkers weird to look at.
But it's like
Also,
shot.
the first,
shot.
right. Also, the first Pokemon movie has like no plot,
None.
like at all.
Not at all.
I rewatched it like kind of. It was on like Netflix or somewhere, and I rewatched it like kind of recently, like within the last 6 months, and I was like, nothing is happening in this movie. Like all these trainers get
Mewtwo is planning
invited.
on killing everyone and remaking.
Okay,
all
so
their
like
image.
in the beginning, Mewtwo escapes and he's like, I'm gonna take revenge on the humans. And all these trainers get invited to this like mysterious island where they're gonna fight this like super strong trainer. And then there's like a storm and only like 5 of them can get to the island. And then they get there.
Conveniently, it's the 5 that like are the main characters.
Right, and they get there and Mewtwo like fucks up their shit. And then Ash punches Mewtwo and Mewtwo kills him. Not directly.
He wanted to make clones of the strongest Pokemon to start off his army.
His army. And then he was like, oh, wait.
That his clones were stronger than the strongest.
So basically, like, his mom shows up and is like, hey, stop this foolishness, Mew.
Yeah.
And Mewtwo's like, okay. And then everyone, like, and then the tears of the Pokemon bring Ash back to life, and everyone lives happily ever after. And it's like, what?
Also,
very, very weird. But all of that in 3D animation is going to be weird. Weird to look at.
Yeah. What is it? Pokemon. Oh yeah, Mew in that movie, he doesn't really have any like motivation. He's just kind of like he gets woken up and he's like, huh? And then he just wants
it's like Rayquaza in the Deoxys movie. Rayquaza just like throws a hissy fit that entire movie. And is just like pissed off that Deoxys exists. Like the entire that's like literally the plot of Destiny Deoxys.
Yeah, because Rayquaza's job is to kind of stop the world from ending. And Deoxys shows up and he's like, you seem like a bad dude.
But he doesn't chase. He doesn't like chase after Deoxys. Deoxys goes into hiding as the like sparkling light thing in the indoor like rainforest place.
Mm-hmm.
And Rayquaza's just pissed. Like he's just fucking angry and like screaming. And everyone's like, "Whoa, he's in a bad mood."
We've hit the extent of my Pokemon knowledge here.
Okay, see, but the Pokemon universe is contained. It doesn't try to like shoehorn in all this other bullshit. Like, shut up, Jacob.
Pokeball.
It's also not a lamp.
It's not a lamp.
Sweating bits.
It's
not a lamp.
It's round. It's a tool. It's animated. It was red.
gonna kill,
It's a toy in the real world.
kid's
And
gonna kill us with this. It's not a lamp though, for sure.
It's not a lamp. It's specifically not the Pixar lamp. Also not the Disney Aladdin lamp. It's a Pokeball.
Okay, so the side question to sort of like broil on while we talk about the next thing, which will hopefully be much quicker because we have less extensive knowledge about it. Who is faster between Sonic and the Flash, and why? We'll come back to that. We'll come back to it. Don't.
Okay.
We'll come back to it. So the
Come
other
back.
thing that we're
We're
going to
talking
talk about.
Dana Fisher.
Yes, I did not realize that the Sonic the Hedgehog fuckery was going to take this long, but it has.
We
So
both have strong
Dana-
feelings.
So Dana Fisher, 9 years old, makes day 2 at the Magic the Gathering Grand Prix.
Yes.
Youngest female to win a cash prize.
Actually,
Plays-
straight up youngest player.
She's the youngest player to
Was-
win.
She was the youngest player, period.
Yeah,
She is
there's-
the youngest player
there's-
to day 2, and she is the youngest player to win cash.
Okay.
And she did it
All
all.
the things,
just
all the
like
things I've
Nixon.
said say youngest. All the things I've read say youngest female. So I don't know why they're trying to push that so far. But
Because they don't want to acknowledge the fact that maybe a girl did it before a boy did. I'm pretty sure she is. Everything I've read has said youngest player.
Point, she played modern, black green elves, which
Dressed like Nissa.
as she does, and
Mhm.
which I don't know if any of you know this, but her deck is terrifying.
It's so good.
I'm gonna play against it. It's very strong.
And she has a really good side.
She's the youngest Magic player. Yes.
Yeah, and she made day 2 last when she was 8.
Right, last year she made day 2, I remember,
Yes.
but she didn't. She either didn't place or she didn't like do very well, but
Yeah,
she was,
well day
if-
2.
But she
Yeah.
didn't make day 2.
which was her goal that year. Her goal that year was to be the youngest
to
player
day
to
two.
make day 2,
Yeah.
which she succeeded in by a stroke of luck and just being really fucking good. That's wild though. What would you do with $300 cash at 9 years
At
old?
9 years old. Ooh.
Magic cards.
I mean, yeah, that's probably what she's gonna do. Or
No,
she's
she
gonna like.
spent them for her sister. She like spent the money on her sister.
That's cute. She has a Twitter page.
Her youngest sister like wanted something. The article I read said that like her youngest sister like wanted something and she like bought it for her.
A pony.
Oh.
I don't know, like she said she was gonna spend the money on her family because her family like always supported her, and I was like, like I was a little shit when I was 9. I would have bought like, I don't know, fuck, I don't know what I wanted when I was 9, but I wouldn't have spent it on my family, that's for sure.
100 bags of nerds.
I mean, probably it's probably gonna be like candy or video games or something.
Yeah. This is really cute. So on her Twitter, her pinned tweet right now is at NTG Austin. I set a world record by achieving my goal and becoming the youngest player to win cash at a GP. I ended 10-4-1 in 46th place. Peaked at 13th, 8-1 at the end of the first day. Won the pay it forward playmat for the top female player, and now have more GP day 2s than my dad.
Awkward.
And I think she drew with her last against the last person because they had a flight to catch like back home and they just barely made it. So
Yeah.
if they'd played the match out, they would have missed their flight.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have missed their flight?
Uh,
Dana and her dad. Yeah, Dana Fisher and her dad. Also, she's going to DreamHacks this weekend. She's like one of the honored guests at DreamHacks in like Europe, which is like I'm just so stoked for this little girl. Like
she knows what's up.
And I've said this before, and I don't remember what episode it was that we talked about Dana Fisher. It might have been the Magic episode, but
it probably was. Yeah.
it should have been if it wasn't. But that girl is gonna shape the future of Magic the Gathering. Like,
Damn
like
right she
mark
is.
my words, like I said it, like she's gonna shape the future of the game.
I mean, I think
years to come.
in a similar way, like there are so many like staples in the now like MTG world. I mean, like players like Reed Duke and like that style of play where they have a deck that they build and that they are known for, or like Luis Scott Vargas, like they have their deck types.
Or oh shit,
Everyone was safe.
Dragon Master. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right, Keebler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
have their decks that they're known for, right? Like Reed Duke will play Jund or Big Green Stompy no matter what it takes.
Make
He's
it
just-
work.
He's a Jund Gruul Stompy boy, and he will live and die by that. Like Luis Scott Vargas is always going to play a spell slinger. Is it Grixis kind of deck? You know, like Brian Keebler is like Sarkhan. Brian Keebler was he was Sarkhan basically. You know,
in
just
real life.
A real life Sarkhan. He just really was really into dragons.
Remember that one time when Brian Kibler went back in time and screwed up the timeline?
We're doing that now. We
Real life Sarkhan.
And this was one of the points I wanted to touch on while the three of us were here. We need to have a friend of Clara and I's on the show, and because he's been playing Magic like forever, and the four of us need to talk about the Magic the Gathering universe, and it's fucking wild.
It's so cool though.
Like I'm talking about like going back, like
going
back.
Dominaria, like, pre-mending,
like pre-Urza back.
Yeah, pre-mending,
like, into the beginning.
Yeah.
This is wild.
In the beginning.
Yeah, we'll have Jacob do that voice the entire time. So I mean, we should have a Magic the Gathering lore episode, and it'll be like
I think it'll be more than one. Yeah,
it'll be the four of us just being fucking complete nerds for several hours straight. But like,
I will say I'm less familiar with old stuff. My wheelhouse is very much the Innistrad, Theros, Alara, Ixalan, Kaladesh.
Right.
Eldraine now.
Theros forward, because that's when you started.
Yeah, I started right after Theros ended. So.
And Jacob and I started in New Phyrexia, but I went back and like read a bunch of the shit because I was like, this is fucking interesting.
I've read a bunch about Dominaria. When Dominaria came out, I was like, oh, it's the original plane of Magic. I should probably like read about it. And then regretted it immediately because I was looking at the Magic wiki pages, and they're just like
so
as tall as I am in like 4-point font. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of content.
A lot of content. The whole Weatherlight stuff, like.
Okay, we're head first already in the rabbit hole. Let's back up.
Yeah, let's back up.
Everybody back up.
That should be an episode that we all like sit down and do, and I think it could be very enjoyable.
The other thing I wanted to mention, just so that we have like it as a matter of public record, is I was watching the Philip DeFranco show today, and I've been thinking about this like kind of for a little while. If you don't watch the Philip DeFranco show, definitely check it out. It's awesome. I've been thinking about this like kind of for a while about social media, and Jacob and I had the episode about social media a little bit ago about social media like as tools for like the nerd community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But a point that was made on the show today, and a point that I think we could possibly revisit in the future, is like social media burning people out of their own community. Like when you're so like, and Jacob, I think he's mentioned this at some point. I don't know if it was necessarily on air, but that I think actually it was last week when we did the show, or 2 weeks ago, whatever the last show was.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
About me being like super engrossed in stuff, and like having this like deep, intense like knowledge of things. And it's lasted for a little while for certain things like Star Wars and so on, but like a lot of times when you like devote all of your energy to like just one thing, you burn out of it very quickly.
Yeah, we can. I think definitely like community burnouts, like valid, and I think that we can talk about that too because I definitely like. Guys, I play a lot of D&D. Not only do I play a lot of D&D, I watch a lot of D&D being played, and I've definitely had to take breaks. So
That's that like this is revisiting the gatekeeping episode now. That's that like real nerd shit when you're like, oh, I watched the Avengers, I'm a nerd. It's like, no, I went to the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour as a fan.
yeah, no, like I watch.
That's like to me, that is the hard difference between like I was asked this question once, specifically in this way. What is your nerdist shit? And my answer to that, of course, was that I speak Mandalorian. But that question is like super profound now in my mind to see like I ask people now.
Is it profound enough to add to the beginning quiz for your show?
Yeah, I think so.
Especially because it's a nerd-based show.
I didn't think about that. So Jacob, so what is your nerdist shit?
Well, quick question though, because we just talked about gatekeeping, and then we were talking about like, "Hi, you're not a nerd." So like,
no, I like.
Well, no.
don't...
It's not that I don't think that they're nerds, but like, there's like there's like levels of like how nerd you are.
The important thing is to not stop people from getting to the nerd.
No, like and because I was in that camp before, and we've talked about this on the gatekeeping episode, where I was like, nah, fuck you, like you don't know anything, like, and now I'm like, no, you gonna learn today, like what y'all know about.
You asked me one question, yeah.
Like, you gonna learn.
Question. Yeah, you're gonna learn.
Like, y'all know about them siege weapons, like.
Yeah. I think it depends on the. I mean, I haven't encountered anyone like this, but I could imagine this isn't a gatekeeping thing so much as like if you're more engrossed in certain communities, if someone's new to the community and they were acting like they knew everything about it, that would be frustrating.
It is frustrating.
You gonna learn today.
I will tell you, as someone who plays Magic and gets regularly gatekeeped in that way, having like a new player who's played for like a set come in and tell me like, you're not playing the right cards.
Which, holy shit, I have never seen it, but I want to see you do that to someone so bad. Like, oh man, I want to see it so bad. And it's the little bit in me that's like, oh, I'm so proud. But it's also the little bit in me that knows that you're like vicious and like will kill someone. And they're like, like be terrified of you instantly if you do that to someone. So like both of those like horrible things about me are like, I need to see this happen.
Yeah.
Nerdist thing.
So yeah, what's your nerdist shit, Jacob?
I don't.
I have two. Yeah, like.
Okay, so the first thing that I thought of two things. One, just because it's something recent, and the other's more like long term. But the amount of times that I reference Power Rangers.
You do know a lot about the Power Rangers.
I talk about Power Rangers a lot. Just because just a lot of respect for storytelling decisions made in some of the early seasons. The other nerd thing that's more recent is because I'm running a campaign. I was listening to, and it's supposed to be memey, and there's supposed to be like internet things coming to life and like just silly shenanigans going on. In addition,
so you're
to,
running
like,
the Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, the D&D game.
In addition to more serious themes that I'm planning on like tinkering around with. But like using the silly things as like a vehicle,
A vehicle to drive
Yeah.
the seriousness.
However,
It's a kid's movie.
I was listening to the song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" the other day while I was driving in my car, and I was like, "Oh, it would be so fun if I actually had like the character Johnny from this song as a character who would like summon devils and then challenge them to fiddling competitions."
No, he's totally like a warlock. Like a warlock.
He's a bard. Like,
Oh, he's a bard with like demon summoning?
Johnny has to be a bard. If
Yeah.
Johnny from The Devil Went Down to Georgia, this is another conversation I never thought we would have. If Johnny from The Devil Went Down to Georgia was a D&D character, he would be a chaotic, neutral bard.
yeah.
Cotton
Or
Eye
chaotic
Joe,
good.
bro.
Maybe chaotic good.
Now my name is Johnny, and it may be a sin.
Guys, Cotton Eye
Um,
Joe. Bro.
No, but see,
Yeah,
Johnny should have
person
just looked
was
at the devil and been like, weird flex.
Oh, where did he come from? Where did he go? He would be a rogue. 'Cause, yeah. Okay. So the other thing was, I was thinking like having him. Another thing that I've wanted ever since I saw it was someone made like a character sheet for an animated armor full of bees.
Yeah,
And
I've
so
seen
I want Johnny from.
I think
from
we're
the-
all part of that D&D group on Facebook, but none of us
Yeah.
want to mention, like, none of us want to admit to the other that we're part of it.
I mean, I follow a lot of D&D blogs on Tumblr, so I think they all kind of source from the same areas.
Okay, so I want Johnny and the animated armor full of bees to be in like a party together,
Uh-huh.
and like
You should have your party
The-
encounter.
A
oh
party.
yeah, they're going
So, like,
they're
Johnny,
going to
Joe, the rogue,
Yeah.
the bees armor.
Cotton Eye Joe, and the bees armor is going to be the voice of reason. Be like, you really should stop summoning devils. And then Abby
Like,
added that.
Joe, stop stealing everyone's wife.
They could make a what's it called? The wild shape druid who wild shapes into a frog. That
No.
boy.
No.
That
Oh,
boy.
no, they already
You have
fought
to have that
they fought
boy.
that boy. It was a bullywug. It was a bullywug on a unicycle.
Did they fight him? Did they win?
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
They
shit,
did
what
beat
the-
him.
They killed that boy.
Yes.
You
Oh,
got
shit, what-
Knuckles.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking of mixing
What
Uganda and the armor full of bees because they were looking for their queen.
Oh, what's it? Not a potions. A chemist is not the right.
An alchemist?
Alchemist. Thank you. An alchemist. That uses Tide Pods.
Ooh, yeah.
And then Abby
So
added
your
that
party, yeah.
the party should also include a very grumpy Tabaxi.
Yes. Yes. Grumpy Tabaxi.
Why?
No. Wait. No.
That.
I think
okay.
you should do a separate cat party because you could also have Keyboard Cat, the bard.
Yes, that's true.
And Nancat, the
And Nancat, what would it? Wizard?
probably.
Wizard?
I was thinking it would just be a familiar for someone.
Also valid, but I like that. Like, imagine like a wizard who casts fly on itself with color spray.
And turns into a Pop-Tart?
I don't seeming.
We are wildly off topic.
So, anyways, those are my nerd.
That's
nerd
pretty hard, nerd.
Yeah,
I think mine is. I mean, first of all, in the year of our Lord 2020, I am playing an Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd Edition campaign.
Okay, I was like, where the fuck is this sentence going?
I am playing.
Quick aside, I know Claire's nerdish shit is she knows way too much about classical music. At the end.
Yeah, that's a given. And it's, I mean, your whole family, her whole family knows, has a Rolodex of knowledge about all classical music. It's very impressive and admirable. I think the close second for me and like my nerdist stuff is I run a Magic the Gathering campaign that's not set in the world of Ravnica, like the book that came out. I am writing my own campaign, and I'm basically writing Magic the Gathering fan fiction in the form of Dungeons and Dragons.
Fair.
Uh,
And I was like sort of going off on reading, writing, and speaking Mandalorian as like my nerdist thing, but I don't know that it is.
I mean,
No,
It might be.
it is.
it's a
You think
conlang.
so?
I think
It's
anyone
time
who
to
can speak a
learn
conlang
fictional
is
language.
yeah. I think anyone who can learn a conlang, that's like gonna be your nerdiest shit.
So that's more nerd shit than knowing and being able to recognize within the established canon and the formerly established canon the lightsaber forms. My nerd shit is definitely connected to Star Wars, like
Hands down.
without a doubt, it's connected to Star Wars. But
Any-
Jacob and I spoke a little bit at length about the lightsaber forms.
Anything, I will say this: any nerd knowledge that goes outside the realm of normal arts interest, as far as like, so us writing a D&D campaign is really nerdy, but there's enough people who do it that it's not like the like
It's
absolutely.
it's
It doesn't
the flavor you add to it, right? It's the fact that you're doing a meme-based campaign. It's the fact that I'm doing not only a Magic the Gathering
It's not
campaign.
the antithesis of your nerdist shit.
Yeah. Because people,
It's
people
whatever
like-
specific about that is the nerdist shit.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is also
people
why I
like
bring up.
writing.
It's not the fact that I'm in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. It's also the fact that I'm in an advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition campaign, which is arguably one of the clunkiest systems.
It is no, don't argue. It is the clunkiest system.
What is Thaco? Who is she? We still don't know. We stopped using her because she's so complicated. We just now use pluses and normal AC like you do in 5e. It took some convincing for our DM, but we've just added pluses because it's so hard to convince normal people that like you have to add and then subtract to add again. It's like
Math. Jacob,
Yeah.
what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that like writing and doing art and those have become staples of a lot of fandoms. And so while they are nerdy, they're not like they've become pretty common. And so I think you recognizing the lightsaber forms and speaking Mandalorian are uncommon enough.
yeah.
Like
My Mandalorian has gotten super rusty though because I have no one to speak it with. So one of y'all needs to get
Yeah.
on that shit.
Uh,
I'm just kidding.
I do wonder about like
What if we had a show in Mandalorian?
3 people would watch it.
It would be the 3 of us.
people who
You think I would watch it? No.
people who speak Klingon and like Elvish.
Sindarin.
So
Yeah.
I do wonder, like those are
Valerian.
still pretty nerdy, but like as
Valerian's not a complete
they're
language.
common, are they less nerdy?
I don't think so. Because I've heard people speak Klingon and it is impressive.
I've
Yeah.
heard people speak Sindarin.
Yeah.
Elvish and her husband speak Sindarin to each other.
Yeah. I think if you are willing to sit down and learn a conlang in which no one else speaks it very often, I think that is incredibly nerdy and admirable. I'm a big fan of I love watching like conlang videos and like watching people break down conlangs because I think it's constructed languages, in case anyone out there does not know what a conlang is. Constructed languages.
Roll a deck, because I think there's a lot of people who do not know what that is.
That's why constructed languages, which is any language that was created for an artistic endeavor.
Right.
Such as Klingon or Valyrian or Mandalorian.
Valyrian, like Dothraki, is not a full language,
It's
which
not
is
a
really
full
unfortunate because I really did want to learn Dothraki because it sounds angry as shit. Because it's a
It
very
is.
angry language, but neither of them are complete.
Languages now.
That's the weird thing about Mandalorian is it's just complete enough that you could consider it a language. It has the tenets of like
structure,
what,
yeah.
like it has enough
David
structure
Tennant.
that you could you could write a book in it, I think. And you could speak it within a society, but it's not as complete as, or it is, I mean, it's less complete than like a real language, but it is more complete than something like Dothraki or Valyrian or High Valyrian, if you want to get real technical.
I think okay then, so maybe like, and maybe I shouldn't put a definition to this, but anything that requires additional memorization outside of your normal experience with the media is probably like where you're getting like peak nerd. So the people who have all of the Green Lantern Corps like mottos memorized.
Oh Jesus
Oh,
Christ! There's
yeah,
a lot of
people
them.
have all of
There's
those
a lot of them.
memorized.
I have a friend who is that. Yeah, he's that. I have a friend who is Freddie. He's incredibly knowledgeable about all things DC, and that's not just limited. And when I say like incredibly knowledgeable, I mean at the drop of a hat, you can mention a comic number, and he will probably know what you're talking about, and he will be able to tell you the plot of that specific comic book. Freddie is impressive when it comes to this stuff, and he had to brush up on his Green Lantern mottos recently because he realized he didn't remember the Indigo one. He couldn't think of the Indigo one.
Okay, I think we found a guest for our comic episode, Jacob.
Yeah, I can ask Freddie. Yeah,
That would be great.
Holy shit!
Freddie is.
And it'll just be Jacob and I going.
Freddie is super knowledgeable, and he cares deeply about comic books.
Holy fuck!
He's a cool dude.
Holy fuck! Okay. Wow. All right. Now I have to go after the other hosts that we've had, which not a lot, but we'll have to go after them, and
Yeah.
I'll go find out what their nerdist shit is. Is Abby still in the room, Jacob?
No, she's asleep.
Okay.
What about Claire?
What would you? No, she's. I mean, we know her nerdist shit. It's classical.
Oh
music.
yeah, classical music.
What would you guess Abby's nerdist shit is?
I mean, she is studying librarian studies. Like,
Library science.
Yeah. Which is like already like base 7 nerdy.
What is? Let's see. I mean, she knows the plot of most Buffy episodes by title, and she's only seen.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say like if it's not library science, it's definitely like Buffy.
What else? I'm trying to think of like library science related stuff. I mean, she's not like constantly talking about the different organization systems, so it's not like that.
Does anyone else? Do people use anything except Dewey?
But she's not like a geek about it.
We'll have to get into.
She doesn't evangelize. She doesn't.
Is she a dork
Let's
about
get into the difference between the nerds, geeks, and dorks on a different episode, because I feel very strongly about the differences, and I know other people don't.
Well, Jacob and I literally just talked about this the other night when we were playing Wavelength, because there's a card that says geek versus dork. So we had to, and who was it? Lewis says Weird Al.
Yeah.
And you had to figure out like where he falls in the geek versus dork scale.
I said he was more of a geek because he's so skilled, but it was Lewis was a dork because
I think overall, I agreed with his overall, like at the end of the day, like Weird Al is a dork, not a geek. However, he has geeky interests.
Okay, we'll have to get into that later, because
so currently
that's a wild ride.
4 episodes planned.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Take it
Okay, so MTG lore, Frank comics, geek dork nerd. Differences, I guess.
Yeah. Differences, yeah.
Qualifications.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sonic the Hedgehog versus the Flash. Brenna, go first because I think I know Jacob's.
So I think
Mm.
I think based in canon, I'm gonna say
We'll have to wrap this up pretty quick.
I think
You
I'm
guys-
gonna say Flash. I think the Flash would be faster.
Jacob.
I'm pretty sure canonically the Flash should be faster because of like
You can
him
vibrate through solid objects.
and him running like at the speed of the Green Lantern light. Like when they were shooting it out so that he could in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon or just
Yeah.
Justice League
Mm.
when he has to throw that thing into the sun to prevent it from exploding.
Right.
And like Green Lantern
Yeah.
shooting out
As
his thing
one
to
does.
have something to run on.
Right, as one
I
does.
do wonder. I would need to look in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. There's a scene where he runs from Green Hills, Montana to the Pacific Ocean and back in like a few seconds. And I do wonder what that speed
What
is.
the actual speed is.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think being
okay.
able to I think I would say canonically the Flash because if you can vibrate your molecules through solid objects, like I don't think that's something that Sonic
has ever done. Yeah.
has ever done or could ever do. Because he just runs fast. The Flash, like, is speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is, it would be really weird if you saw the Flash like huddle up into a ball and then like
Screw
like
attack.
homing attack someone. More weird abilities is that he's learned to propel himself through the air a bit more with a bit more finesse than
The Flash?
yeah. Because the Flash, like when he's like doing like tornadoes with his arms,
Oh, right.
air is not as not as skilled. But Sonic is like on the regular, just like jumping into the air and then like zooming around at objects.
He's also small. He's more aerodynamic.
So
Yeah.
someone actually calculated the like something close to the Mach speeds that they can hit. Sonic, according to his lore, could probably hit Mach 517.98. The Flash
Okay.
could probably hit.
The Flash runs faster than time.
Hold on. He could
I
probably
want to
hit
point that out.
Mach. I'm just going to start saying numbers because I do not know how to say this properly. Mach 209214719999998.328.
So he wins.
That was 15 digits.
Yes.
Before you hit the decimal.
Yes. It's a lot faster. That's what the
Jacob.
calculation is.
Okay, 6 is million, 9 is billion, 12 is trillion, 15 is quadrillion then.
So 209 quadrillion, 214 trillion, 700
The
and
Flash can run circles around Sonic. Is what
Yes.
we're saying.
essentially.
The
He
Flash.
also ran so fast that he circumvented the Earth in a matter of nanoseconds just to punch Lex Luthor Brainiac in the face. Like, solely
I mean,
for
he
that
deserved it.
purpose.
He deserved it.
The Flash is so fast he could like get a toy of Sonic and like run around, punch Sonic, like, and make it look like he was never there.
Well, this has been an entertaining episode of the Dr. C Show.
Get in on this. Like, man, we did have a good discussion there for like 10 minutes. We had like a solid, like, serious discussion. And now we're like, what is it? The Flash runs at, 2 quadrillion, whatever, like.
Also, isn't like
Is it
metal
miles? Did they put it in miles per hour? Or that's like the level of Mach?
Mach? So all that times 720 miles per hour.
Holy fuck. That's fast.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah, so the Flash sees Sonic say, "Gotta go fast," and he's like, "Okay."
I mean, and that's faster than light, pretty sure.
That
Yeah.
is way faster than the speed of light.
Yeah,
Gonna take a
Speed of light
stab
looks-
in the dark there.
because it's only 3 to the 8th meters per second. 3 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. 4.
Yeah, so the Flash is much faster than the speed of light. Like, he makes the speed of light look like fucking slow. That's bonkers. Wow. Okay. Okay. Before my brain melts, trying to do all this math.
Get high on crystal math.
Final thoughts about the wedding or the Sonic the Hedgehog movie or anything that we talked about.
It's good.
It's good.
Things you can say about the wedding.
Your wedding, but also about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
And about Dana Fisher
There was,
becoming the youngest player to win money.
there was an odd amount of Olive Garden product placement. No.
By the way,
wedding.
the day after we saw Sonic the Hedgehog.
There's a lot of green involved.
There was,
A lot of
yeah.
green involved. A lot of green involved in general. The day after we saw the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, we went to Olive Garden, and I wasn't as disappointed as I thought I would be.
Oh no.
They had really good like watermelon margarita,
Not sponsored.
but willing.
If we make a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, we could get sponsored.
We only get $50 gift cards from the government saying thank you.
Yeah, we could
Has
each get a $50
been-
Olive
Have
Garden
you
gift
tried the never-ending
Oh.
possible?
This has been a horrific and scarring episode of the Dr. Z Show. We will
Disco
see
Bobby.
you next time.
Adios.